How worth it is it to pop for Lyra? There are two categories we're evaluating her in: DPS and support. Let's first look at her DPS value. There aren't that many valuable team comps for physical currently. You either have Claudia Lyn Lyra, Claudia Lyn Shiro, or Claudia Shiro Lyra. So how do these comps stack up? Here's a table to compare them. With no matrices, Lyra beats out Shiro by a small amount. However, matrices make a big difference in this comp. So what does it look like with matrices in play? Here's a table with two columns, one for limited matrices and one without. Shiro benefits more from non-limited matrices than Lyra, but with limited matrices, it swings in Lyra's favor considerably. For those without an infinite budget, however, there is extra benefit to Shiro, in that the FTT-friendly Samir and Huma combination is a damage gain over 4-piece Lyra at similar stars. In other words, if you can't afford it to 3-star Lyra's 4-piece, then the gap between Lyra and Shiro is even smaller, around 3% in favor of Lyra. So, what's the breakpoint before Lyra can replace Shiro in a Claudia and Lyn comp? Here's a table comparing the total damage per minute of a Claudia Lyn Lyra comp to one with A6 Shiro instead of Lyra. There are 3 columns, for a standard matrix setup, and then adding Claudia 4-piece, and then both Claudia 4-piece and Lyra 4-piece. Even with Claudia 4-piece, Lyra's theoretical damage potential isn't as high as that of Shiro in Tau A6. But, with both Claudia 4-piece and Lyra 4-piece, she pulls ahead as early as Advancement 2. However, do note that a 4-piece 3-star set is very expensive, and it makes very little sense to pull for that before pulling A6 Lyra herself. Now that we're clear on the team comp options, let's take a look at the value of her advancements in the best team, Claudia Lyn Lyra. The straight in her advancements is fairly evenly spaced out. Her A1 offers a decent amount of passive damage through Guardian generation, roughly a 10% total team increase from A0. A3 buffs the Guardian damage, as well as the bonus on-hit damage from basic attacks. A5 is purely for utility in Defiant Dead, and doesn't have any damage value outside of the raw stat gain. A6 gives up to an 8% damage and healing bonus when you have all your guardians up. Overall, there is almost a 30% gain in total damage between A0 and A6. We've talked about matrices a bunch, so I'll give you a really easy and sweet TLDR. On Shiro, Samir and Huma is better than Lyra 4-piece of equal advancement. On Lyra, Lyra's 4-piece at 0-star is roughly the same powerful as a 3-star Samir Shiro set. That is to say that you probably shouldn't consider pulling for a matrix unless you have the funds to 3-star it. What about Lyra's value for Benediction resonance? It's undeniable. She offers a lot of team durability by increasing their max HP, giving up to a 25% HP shield in overhealing, and if you use her trait, you can provide constant hyper body to your team and a further 10% HP. On top of that, she can provide Shatter, freeing up your other 2 weapon slots to take even more buffs. And speaking of buffs, she has a buff of her own at A3 that grants 15% final damage. As if that wasn't enough, with Benediction Resonance specifically, your skill pumps out an insane amount of damage. Having 3 blades up creates a bouncy ball that deals damage on each bounce, and it's pretty significant. I soloed Hera in under 30 minutes just by placing down these blades and running away. I'll post a video and some notes on that later. In terms of pure DPS, Lyra isn't much of an upgrade to Shiro. However, she offers utility that Shiro cannot, to both your self-survivability and ease of DPSing, and that of your team when going Benediction resonance. She also has a nice simulacrum model for research purposes. Hopefully this video was helpful. Tomorrow I'll be crunching Tianlan numbers, so I'll see you guys again then. Bye bye!